Richard, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Michael. I'm glad to be here.
Richard, since we last spoke, you've moved to the mountains, Lone Pine, California. What's the elevation there?
We're at the base of the High Sierra, and we're at 4,200 feet. The mountains are towering above us another 1,000, 1,100 feet more.
What took you to Lone Pine?
Oh, raping of children. There's something about relating to the time frame of the rocks and realizing how little I've known even myself, despite the tremendous involvement I've had with personal transformation. Living the way I did in very heightened states of consciousness nearly continuously because I was with people in group dynamics 200 or more days of the year.
Where you have a lot of energy flying around. It's real intense.
Yeah, with a lot of energy flying around that's intense. You begin to focus more on forces that are continuously in change and balancing within forces that are continuously in change. But by touching into the relationship with these rocks, I began to sense a consciousness that is not in change. In fact, I would say this, that in the process of awakening to higher energies, we go exactly the opposite of what we're normally taught. We're normally taught that human consciousness is at the top of the pole. Well, that's from a certain point of view, a very specific point of view. But as a human being starts to move into higher states of consciousness, I would say they recapitulate in stages. It's not only true, but perhaps it's wisdom. There's an enormous spiritual power that can come from human beings in harmony with each other. But I keep using this word spiritual power. I want to emphasize there's I'll call it energy. There's an energy of consciousness, a presence, a force, a palpable force that you have to reconcile, you have to deal with. You can't walk away from it. That can come from human beings in harmony, like a football team in fine tune, or a platoon that works together really well. Unfortunately, the war, the military dynamic is one of the...
Be all you can be in the Army.
But it's also one of the most highly evolved form of spiritual life, and that would be a wonderful conversation on another day, Michael.
Yeah.
But okay, so some of what we deal with when we start to come into community is we're dealing with a higher energy. The schizophrenic, on the other hand, is a very high energy system, a very high energy psychic dynamic that has no personal focus, no boundary that defines its own process. It's too unbounded. So the unboundedness of the schizophrenic allows it to be constantly dissipating energy outward, but never creating definition. Schizophrenics are injecting love or the potential for change into themselves and into the society around them, though in our society we refuse it. But the cancer dynamic, and this is a broad generalization from my point of view, the cancer dynamic represents the forces for stabilization, the forces that resist change. And there's a health in resisting change. We have to understand that. The genomes, the containment of the schizophrenic is the complement to that. The growth that's not referent to an identity versus too much identity. And these are broad generalizations that allow us to sweep our minds around with a new point of view. And I'm saying them very quickly now. I go into them in a little more depth. One of the things I would love to see happen in our hospitals is that we start putting the schizophrenics in the same wards as with people with cancer, and allow some of the craziness and incoherence and disorder that the schizophrenics bring, which is a window to new possibility, and the intrinsic structure inducted by the cancer pattern, which would be made available then to the schizophrenic. And while this may sound crazy to the normal point of view, and it may not be the way we really have to go about it, it's an image that seems to suggest the treatment for schizophrenia is creating structure.
Certainly it seems that times do require radical change of some kind.
As long as we understand that we don't know, we just don't know, and some of our experiments in growth are trying to go on faster, just faster than we want them to go on. And I'm learning all the time, as I think you are, Michael, that we're growing, but not at the speed we thought. Slowly, slowly, as you said.
If you go slowly, slowly, you reach fast.
Right.
Richard, I want to thank you for joining us today.
I love these times with you, Michael.
Yeah, they're good. I've been speaking with Dr. Richard Moss, the author of The Eye That Is We, and a book entitled Radical Aliveness. Is that it? Radical Aliveness. Yeah, Radical Aliveness. published by Celestial Arts and available in paperback. If you'd like more information about the work of Richard Moss, the workshops that he does in different parts of the country, his books and tapes, you can write to Richard Moss. The address is Box 1180, Lone Pine, California. The zip code is 93545. That address again for information about the work of Richard Moss, Box 1180, Lone Pine, California, 93545. Tell him New Dimensions sent you. My name is Michael Toms. On behalf of the entire New Dimensions radio family, wishing you well.
New Dimensions is produced by New Dimensions Radio, a non-profit radio producer located in San Francisco. New Dimensions is made possible in part by listeners